My mother had just this tremendous sense of civic duty. And she was into beautification. She loved beautification. She had a magnificent yard and people would always come to see it. And she felt that Knoxville was a uniquely positioned, exquisitely beautiful piece of land. She wanted everyone to be able to have beautiful plants in their yard. No matter what your economic circumstance was, she felt that this was an inalienable right. And so they started Knoxville Green with the idea of beautifying Knoxville. My mother was Maria Compere. I'm Susie Compere. My mother was the one who started the Daffodil Project. She started this project in the mid-'80s on the Pellissippi Parkway. She chose that because it was a scenic parkway, and also it was the route that my father drove to his work at the lab in Oak Ridge. My mother saw photographs of a place where daffodils had been dumped actually and grew. She was a biochemist and she knew a lot of horticulture and botany. She was very aware of that. And she knew that nothing ate daffodils. Tulips, the Dutch lived on them in the Second World War. Everything will eat a tulip bulb if it has the opportunity. But if you drive out in the country, you see daffodils blooming, you know that that's an old home place because they have a toxin in the bulb. Nothing eats them. They're there forever. For every flower that you do not cut, that daffodil is going to make another bulb because that is, in effect, the seed. That's their reproduction. So every time you don't cut a daffodil, there's another little bulb that's going to move off the parent bulb and make another plant. So they spread, they prosper, and they have no predators. So she loved the idea of daffodils because to my mother, a daffodil was forever. And she's right.
I think daffodils in the East Tennessee area have a historical point of reference for people. If you go into Cades Cove in the Smoky Mountains, still around some of the old cabins that are there, you'll see daffodils. So I think daffodils resonate with people. They think of their grandmother's yard, they think of going out into the woods. So I think it has a real feeling of, I'm home now, spring is here, and all's right with the world.
My mother had this idea initially of planting 1 million bulbs on the Pellissippi Parkway. That vision grew, and ultimately she planted almost 3 million, in fact. It's truly incredible.
She was just instrumental in coalescing people together. The daffodils along Pellissippi Parkway was a huge project that grew year after year after year. And she was able to get different groups together that might not normally come together. She had high school students, she had grade school students, she had seniors, she had business people, she had people from the sheriff's office, she had people that were in jail that would come out and help plant the bulbs. So she could really coordinate a group of people into a community-based project like that.
I can clearly remember she had a crew from Brushy Mountain out there, and she says, "You're planting these bulbs upside down. Imagine you had to stand on your head. You have to make the bulbs comfortable. You see this bulb? It has a point. The point goes up. The roots, the flat part, that goes down. Now look, this is how you do it." And my tiny little, she was in her 90s then, mother gets down on the ground, pulls the dirt back with her hands, and she shows him, she says, "The bulb has to be like this, and you nestle the dirt around it, and it has to be comfortable. Think about that when you do this." And then she stomped off. My mother many times stopped and pointed out that these daffodils belonged to everybody, and people would go and dig them up. And this really infuriated my mother because her attitude was, this belongs to Knoxville. This belongs to the community. You have no right to come and steal these. They were not your efforts. At Easter, I understood Everybody wants to come and have their children in their Easter best and go into a grouping of daffodils and take a picture. Of course, the kids stomp all over the daffodils. They don't mean to. There's no bad intention on anybody's part. But the parents are worried with their cameras and getting the pictures and putting them in the right place. And that's not their concern. But for every flower that's broken, that's a bulb that doesn't get created. She was always thinking about ways to make life more inviting, ways to make people feel good. My mother passed away in 2013.
Soon after Maria passed away, UT Gardens was approached by the Knoxville Green Alliance for a memorial to her. We came together with their group, with Maria's family, and created Maria's Garden. So it's just right here in the middle of the city, a reminder of the impact that this woman had on all of our lives.
Well, this is a special spot because of Maria's garden. This is a garden area that was put together for her and dedicated to her. And it has a lot of daffodils in it, and it will be having more. I get all these emails, and they say, "You don't know me, but I just want to say thank you, because every time I drive down the Pellissippi, it makes me smile." What an awesome legacy.